Today we're talking more about stress in the body. Last week we practiced removing ourselves from our thoughts and resting in our awareness or consciousness or spirit, okay? When we talk about awareness or consciousness, another way to think of that is that spiritual self, all right? That's our timeless presence, our being. All of these different words to explain the same thing, okay? And it's hard to explain these things in words. They're more something we have to experience and feel. So I encourage you to make sure that you are experiencing. Don't just read about these things. You have to practice. Like Eckhart Tolle teaches, you don't want to be a collector of road signs. You want to actually follow the road signs to their destination. And the only way to do that is to actually practice. So today we're going to practice again, getting to know our body a little bit and getting to know how stress works in our particular body. And again, reminding ourselves of our different aspects of self: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I want you to recognize and today kind of explore this connection, especially between our physical body and our mental, emotional selves, and the stress that we create with our mental, emotional self, and how that is manifest in the body, and how these two factors can actually help us to point us back to the pathway to find that spiritual sense of self and the spiritual rest that we're looking for. Our best map to peace is through our own body and mind. So we have to learn to observe. So this is the trick with observing, is that when we observe and we build this practice of self-awareness, we want to be mindful of two things. One is that we are trying to see clearly, which means we have to be like gut level honest with ourselves and really curious about what is happening. So that means we have an open mind, an empty cup, like we've talked about before, and we're not approaching ourselves with the attitude of, I already know this. Then we have to practice being in a space of loving awareness so that we're not judging what we find, that we're not being critical of ourselves in any way. We're not shoulding on ourselves or trying to fit ourselves into some kind of a box, like I shouldn't feel that way, or only terrible people would think something like that, right? We have to start to see ourselves with this sense of trust that there is room for everything that's in here, everything that we're thinking, everything that we feel, that it all fits within the breadth of this human experience and is part of our shared humanity, that there are ugly and messy things that are part of this human experience. And when those types of things pop up in our thoughts or our emotions or our physical body, that there's room for that we can open ourselves to a place of being able to accept ourselves right where we are so that we can find that pathway back to answering our needs and realigning ourselves with that spiritual self, a place of presence and stillness and peace. You can click in the links below to find a free guide to offer you more resources on your path towards healing and wellness.